The question is that the motion be agreed to. I call the member for McPherson.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, it gives me great pleasure to support this motion moved by my friend and colleague, the member for Berowra. And Deputy Speaker, I'd like to say at the outset that this motion at its core is about one thing. It's about trusting parents and giving every child a fair chance. Now, Deputy Speaker, in the contribution by some of those opposite, including the member for Spence, there's this insinuation that those on this side do not support strong public school systems. And I just want to categorically reject that. That is not what this motion is about. And for those who think that it is, I suggest they read the wording of the motion again. All of us on this side of the House have a number of state schools, and we see the issues, we see the opportunities for further funding in those state schools, and we would support state schools being adequately funded. But what this motion is not, and I give credit to the member for Monash who pointed this out, it's not a debate about one versus the other. It's a debate about how we can make sure that all Australian students who are going to public and non-public schools are all supported. And it's about supporting choice as well. Now, I speak in this place, Deputy Speaker, as the product of both public and private education in Australia. And I also speak from the vantage point of being the federal MP of an electorate with the second largest number of non-government schools. So, Deputy Speaker, this is not a distant policy debate for my community, because these schools matter, and the families who choose them, they deserve fairness, they don't deserve judgment. This motion's about backing every child in every school. And, Deputy Speaker, we absolutely reject the divisive rhetoric, and we've seen some of that today, that paints families who choose non-government schools as part of a privileged elite. That is something we totally reject, because government, Catholic, independent, faith-based, regional, remote, boarding, special assistance and low-fee schools all play a pivotal role in our communities and also in the education of the next generation. And at the end of the day, parents should be trusted and supported to choose the school that they want to send their children to. Because at the end of the day, parents know their kids best. And families choose schools for a whole variety of different reasons: values, safety, faith, disability support, academic needs, boarding, location, culture, discipline, opportunity. And those are deeply personal decisions. They should be respected, not judged by government. And I say that it is wrong to paint families who choose non-government schools as privileged elite. Because what some of those opposite don't understand, and what they have failed to point out, is the fact that it hasn't just been easy for those families to make those decisions. In many instances, that choice is backed up by real sacrifice by families who have taken extra shifts, fewer holidays, smaller homes, they've received help from grandparents, and they've been careful with their budgeting. So we have to be careful in this place not to mistake sacrifice for privilege, because most families, or for most families, choosing a non-government school is not a status symbol. It's a stretch in the family budget because they believe it's the right thing for their child. And that is something that we should support. And I also say to those opposite that these are also individuals who pay taxes. Their children are Australian school students, and they shouldn't be punished for making a lawful and legitimate choice. And that's the essence of where this motion is going. A child should not be disadvantaged because their parents choose a school system outside the government system. I'd also like to touch on the point, Deputy Speaker, of the value of non-government schools to our schooling system more broadly, because if non-government schools were made unaffordable, the pressure doesn't disappear. It falls back onto the government school system, and those opposite have already admitted that it's already under strain. Schools need funding certainty, and that's another point that this motion goes to. And I've had the opportunity to meet with many of the roughly 45 schools in my electorate, and one of the consistent messages that I get from some of the school principals is that they get funding announcements towards the end of the year, which means when you're a non-government school and you're reliant on fees in many instances, it's very difficult for them to change the way they go about their fee structures, which practically puts them in a very disadvantaged position. Deputy Speaker, I'll finish where I started in saying that at its heart, this motion's about trusting parents and treating every student fairly. I commend the member for Berowra for bringing this important issue to this place, but that's ultimately why this motion matters, because every parent should be supported to choose the education that's right for their child.
I thank the